Today I'm here with Tara Culibrk. We're at Denison University. Tara won the 2023 NCAA National Championship for the 800 freestyle relay, among many other accomplishments. And she's just a really awesome part of the Denison community. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
You were raised in Serbia. How long did you live there? You lived there all the way through high school?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Serbia, in Belgrade. My whole family is still there. And when I was in middle school, I told my dad I want to go swimming in America. And so the first time I actually left the country to see US was in 2018. That was my senior year of high school.
At what point in your life did you realize that you liked to swim and be in the water? And then how did that develop into this, athletic career?
I was very young. I was, I think, first grade, elementary school. I was about to do track and field, and I really started loving the water, and my parents were like, why don't we try swimming? And I just fell in love with the sport. And since day one, I wanted to get better, and they were almost a little freaked out by my ambitions as a first grader. And so it just never stopped. And yeah, now we're here.
Wow, that's incredible. So you really set that goal pretty early on for yourself. And it was just something that kind of came out of passion, it sounds like.
Yes, I think it was really, really true passion since day one.
At what point did you decide that you wanted to try and go to college in the US and do swimming? And how did you prepare for that in high school?
Yeah, so my dad takes a big part of this. America is kind of the best country to go to if you want to do athletics and go to college. The education system is completely different in Europe and across the world and in Serbia. I really just wanted that college experience that I've just seen in the movies. And I actually remember this phone call I had with my dad in 8th grade, and he was like, what do you think about going to college in America? At that point, I wasn't even in high school, and I was like, that sounds great. And then I just started looking into it, and middle school was starting to get almost towards the end, and my parents actually signed me in to go to international high school.
Tara je predstavljala savremenu gimnaziju na gradskom takmičenju u plivanju. Osvojila je drugo mesto i oborila svoj lični rekord.
Jako znači zato što ja zapravo treniram plivanje ovako za sebe, van škole. I jako sam dobra trener već 7-8 godina i jako mi je drago što ću moći da prezentujem školu. Ponosna sam.
Ever since that 8th grade moment, since that phone call, I was like, yes, I want to go to US. So I have to learn English. And so I went to international high school. That was all in English. It was based on a UK education system, but in Belgrade. And so I learned a lot of my English over there through high school, which made their transition a lot easier when I got here.
It's not even a second language for you. It sounds like you're probably a better English speaker than I am, actually. When you came to Denison, you started your freshman year. What were some of the resources that you found early on that kind of were able to help you get ahead?
I give the most credit to my head coach, Greg Perini. He was always there for me since day one. And I remember writing really poorly done essays freshman year, and he would even offer to proofread my essays and give me feedback. But also our international office at Denison was a big resource. Just coming there to get tutoring support, to just get support if I was homesick. I was just really lucky. I mean, the girls who were seniors at the time, class of 2020, were really detrimental in my success, both like just support-wise and swimming-wise, and they were just acting like older sisters, and we just got a really good relationship from day one. But just campus, professors here really care about you. So just having some bad papers, some bad grades, there were some panicky moments, but my professors were always like, it's okay, English is your second language, like you're gonna get better at this. But I give the most credit to the swim team because they care about you more as a person than just an athlete. So my coaches were detrimental and my teammates.
Well, at CU, it's just such a large university. You really have to seek out resources. And what happens is a lot of students end up feeling like they're struggling, but they don't know where to go. They don't know that a ton of other people are struggling.
Yes, I can kind of relate to that because I went to University of Pittsburgh last year to swim there my 5th year. And it was still amazing experience, just completely different at Denison. That big school feel where you kind of have to search for some offices. But as an athlete at Pitt, it was great because we still had resources. But I know that feeling of being just a small person on a big campus.
Apart from being a very high-level athlete, you're also a very well-regarded student. How do you manage all of that? What systems have you used to kind of keep track of everything?
Yeah, I'll keep coming back to my coach. But freshman year, Greg sat us all down. Our freshman swimmers and divers, and he gave us this list of like time management and like how to manage your hours. And overall, Denison was really good about that. When you come in as a first year, you can join this class advising circles. It was just 1 credit, and it's really meant for first years to kind of get adjusted, and one faculty member leads it, and most of that course was time management. And so we were getting some really good strategies on that. But I also give credit to my personality. I think I'm a very social, outgoing person. I couldn't like settle down. I was constantly looking for opportunities to kind of lead and talk to people. And I think it's just kind of part of who I am to sometimes even overbook myself, which I wouldn't suggest doing it. But I have a hard time saying no sometimes. Yeah. But that's what I love about Denison. They encourage you to get involved. But then also there's the resources to be like, okay, if you're feeling burned out. So yeah, I think, again, just so many resources. Professors were really good about that to us first years. They were like, make sure you look at the syllabus. This is a good day to do this. This is a good day to work on your lab stuff. So just overall support all over.
When we're mentoring kids at Untapped, we give them a weekly plan and help them set that up. But yeah, a lot of the times with younger students too, we just set it up incrementally. You know, you can't put your whole life on there first go, but just put the first thing on there. Did you have any kind of daily routines, just in terms of like when you woke up or when you go to bed, that would help you start and finish your day?
I would do these affirmations in the morning. They sometimes sound silly, but they really work. And I haven't always done them, but I started doing them senior year. I would just write 3 things I'm grateful for every night for that day, even if it was a really horrible day. And then in the morning, I would just say some affirmations about swimming and stuff directly to myself in the mirror before morning practice. I wish I started doing that earlier. It took a little bit to make that routine, and it's kind of sounds silly, just looking yourself in the mirror and saying these things, but I think it really boosted my self-confidence in racing and classes, and I really believe it works.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we always tell our students, you know, we'll give them 2 pats on the back and 1 kick in the butt to kind of keep them going, but like positive reinforcement and showing people that, you know, they're making progress. But yeah, just trying to, with the students, be like, look, you have more free time. Now you're getting better sleep and it's because of this, or you're more confident because of this. What was a typical day like for you as a student athlete at Denison?
Ooh, it was a long day. We would have morning practice every day other than Wednesdays. So it started with that, usually 5:30 a.m. till 7:30. So kind of get our morning workout in. And then I would go socialize with my teammates in the dining hall. I would really like to schedule my stuff to have all classes in the morning because I'm a morning person, and the moment it hits lunchtime I kind of crash. So most of my semesters I had morning classes, so I would just like get ready for the day, sometimes even go straight from the pool, take like 2-3 classes back to back usually, and then lunch would come, dining hall again, then sometimes an afternoon class, sometimes go home, try to take a nap for practice. Practice would be 4:45 to 6:45. Usually I would try to get my homework done during the day so I don't do it at night because I'm so unproductive at night and tired from practice. And then just socialize with my roommates, watch TV, talk about the day. And then senior year, when we were captains, we had a lot more to do outside of the actual swimming practices. We had a lot of planning to do. I was kind of in charge of team bonding, so just a lot of planning on what the team needs right now. And then once a week we would meet with Greg to just assess the team culture and the vibes and what the team needs. Senior year was very busy. It was like almost a full-time job on top of swimming because we just had to make sure the team was doing well. And then I also had a job on campus. I worked in Mitchell Center. This is my favorite place in the whole world, called Mitchell Center. Just as a front desk manager, so I would just greet people as they come in, tell them where the gym is, tell them where to go in the building. So it wasn't really a challenging campus job, which I enjoyed, but I was yet again somehow find myself to be in athletics building. So some days I would just be working 2 hours at a time, but our manager was really good about letting us do homework, so I would sometimes try to use my time for that.
Gotcha. Yeah, that was one of the things that stuck out to me. You said you usually try and get your homework done during the day.
I find myself to be productive more at the start of the week, and then my productivity kind of like shifts down from Wednesday to Friday because it just kind of checked out from the week. But I'm kind of like, this is bad and good, but all or nothing kind of person. So when I was focused, I would try to take advantage of that and just crank a few things at a time. Versus sometimes when it wasn't going at the time, I would be like, okay, I'll just come back to it. It wasn't always possible. Like, sometimes, don't get me wrong, some nights were long with homework and stuff, but I don't know. I think it worked out.
Yeah, I know a lot of people
Yeah.
do that. We call it front-loading, where,
Yes.
especially with ADHD people, it's like,
Yes.
I can tell my student if he's ADHD to do something on Monday, and by Wednesday, he's just already forgotten it.
Yes,
So,
yes.
like, really get into it and prioritizing, deciding what you want to do first. For some people, they want to get the hardest thing out of the way. Some people want to get the easiest thing out of the way. It's just different ways to do it.
It's really, I think, depends on your personality. I was a psychology major, so I learned that some people operate better at different times of the day genetically, which I always thought we were just like environmentally primed, whatever it is, but it's like genetically you are more productive in some times of the day. So that was really interesting to learn about. Do you know the book Atomic Habits? So the author is a Denison alum, and I just attended his talk last week, which was incredible. But he talks about habit stacking, where you associate two habits together and just check them off the list like 2 or 3 at a time. So that was really good because I could like associate like, okay, I know I'm making coffee at this time of the day. After the coffee, I'm going to meditate for 5 minutes. So I just tie those two things together if I want to make meditation be my habit. And then I would definitely have days when I know I'm not going to do stuff. Like Fridays and Saturdays, I would just like, no, I'm not getting any work done. And that's fine. That really helped because for a while I was like feeling guilty if I'm not doing something productive. But that just leaves you feeling bad.
Right, yeah.
So-
Absolutely. I can't remember what interview it was, but someone was talking about how their anxiety came from the free time. They got back to their dorm and they didn't really have anything to do.
Yes.
So 2020, you were part of the swim team. You guys had a really good roster and you were positioned to potentially win some national championships. And then COVID hit. How did you deal with that disappointment as a team? And how did you kind of come back together and recalibrate mentally and as a team?
This is like, I could talk about this for hours. It was probably one of the hardest times of my life. In high school, I loved swimming. I had an amazing team. Everything was amazing, but I was just stagnant with my results. They weren't getting better for like 2 years. And so freshman year of Denison, I finally broke out of my plateau phase, like finally started getting faster. And it was like this amazing year where I finally gained my confidence. The team was like out of this world. Results wise, we were definitely going to win, but also like leadership wise, we had like probably the best team I've ever been part of. It was just like incredible mentorship. And the senior girls in particular were just ready to end their careers with a banger. And we were so close with them. And then our whole world got crushed. So like 4 days before championship. It was just really bad. And then we got sent home. I actually went home with one of my senior girls teammates, Caroline Colville. So we kind of dealt with it together. But the pain like stung for, at least for me, all the way till senior year. But sophomore year was really hard to come back to because that was the fall of the 2020 where we were coming back to college, but it was like the team just looked completely different. And I think for everyone who was part of that previous year, whether they made the team for nationals or not, it hurt because at Denison, when we do win, everyone wins. It doesn't matter if you're swimming or not. Like everyone contributed to that. So I think the team was scarred. And so that year was just really challenging to get motivated. And for me, the absence of those girls who graduated was really, really hard because I've gained such incredible connections with them. I think they were the ones who believed in me the most and where I broke out of this phase of not believing in myself that I can swim fast. So sophomore year was, I would say, pretty rough. A lot of people were like, how do I even find motivation within myself? And then things slowly started getting back into control. I mean, sophomore year, we didn't really have any meets because of COVID. So that's how I gained my 5th year. My sophomore year, obviously, nationals got canceled, conference got canceled. So at this point, I'm coming into my junior year, never have gone to a championship. Wow. And I'm like, well, I'm halfway through my college career and I've never gone to a championship. And I actually think junior year, when we made it, we had something so special. We had a team where not a single woman who qualified for nationals that year had ever been before. Even senior women that year were like, well, we don't know what we're getting into. We don't have any wisdom to share with you guys because we've never been. But we ended up getting 3rd. And actually up until a few races at the end of the meet, we were in the lead. So we were like, wow, we created something really special from all this pain and load on our backs from the past. And so after we got 3rd there, the girls from my grade and I were rising seniors. At Indianapolis 2022, we were like, we're winning next year in Greensboro. We're winning for those girls who couldn't go in 2020. We're winning for ourselves. It really took a couple of years, a lot of healing, a lot of talking to Greg, a lot of moving parts. And then we had this group of girls who were coming in as underclassmen who didn't know what we went through. So we were like, we're not gonna spread this negativity anymore. We made them aware how hard it was for us back in the day, but we used that to fuel us. And then senior year was just magical. Like something clicked. I think winning is really hard, but I think it's very simple in your head that when you're like, we're gonna win, you can totally win. You just have to fully believe it. And we made it sure that the whole team believed it. And we did it. And once we did, we had people from 2020 show up in Greensboro in 2023, watch us do it. And a lot of that winning was for them. So it was hard, but everything happens for a reason. We easily could have let it affect us, but we just used that pain eventually to channel us. But I think it was important for us to sit with the pain. This is also one of the Greg's sayings. It's important to sit with the pain and process it rather than put it under the rug. And I think that's what we were doing sophomore and junior year. I was hurting a lot until Indianapolis 2022, where I was like, okay, like I only get 2 nationals in my 4 years, but I'm going to make the most of these 2 nationals. So
yes, it's such a great story. I always tell my students, like, the only prerequisite to success is failure.
Absolutely.
And just having that failure of not being able to show up 2 years in a row gave you guys the motivation to be able to do it.
And then I also hit plateau with my times again. Like just when I rose up, freshman year and senior were my most successful years when it comes to results. So the middle 2 years were not the best. I wasn't like going really down with my results, but I was really static. And I was like, well, I don't want to add my career on being static times. There was also that, like, you know, being aware that you're not progressing, but you're working hard. I was just waiting for that hard work to hit a paycheck eventually, but it definitely wasn't smooth sailing for 4 years. So it's just the way how you come back from that. And I think senior year is the easiest in that regards because you're like, I'm doing this one last time. Why not go best times?
You kind of already touched on this, but what role did that kind of collective unity and determination have in leading you guys into that final?
It's detrimental to have good leadership. And when you are a senior, you try to set this example for others. A lot of the team culture depends on the senior class. So my class was really lucky to have amazing seniors in 2020. We just tried to replicate that and just step into their shoes. But we just had to make sure that everyone fully believes. That's the most important thing, that people really truly with their heart believe that we could win. And we weren't afraid to say it because a lot of times people are scared to say it out loud and be like judged if the goal is too high. But the goal is supposed to scare you because if it doesn't, it's not high enough.
I am a big believer in speaking things into existence. Yeah. You really do need to put that energy out into the universe so that you can feel it around you. So when you became team captain, how did your role change?
I will say being a captain is a full-time job, being a senior on the Denison swim and dive team. We had these meetings with Greg weekly where we would assess the team vibe. He would ask us questions. What do you think the team needs now? What do you think we need to work on in this period of time? Because the year is so long that you have different focus every quarter. It was really hard at points, uniting the whole team and just really set an example. Like, I mean, there's been times on the pool deck where I would really be really emotional about something or angry or sad, but I would be like, what are these freshman girls are going to think? That isn't to say you're always going to be fake positive and perfect, but just being vulnerable with the team, being that bridge between teammates and coaches, because it was really important for us to have trust on both sides and not feel like our teammates, whatever they tell us, we're telling to the coaches. Like there's been things we brought up that are maybe necessary to bring up, but then we could still talk to our teammates as a mentor and know that their information is confidential with us and we're just there to help them. I learned a lot about myself as a leader and I'm a big people pleaser, so that was something I also had to get over because I was like, I can't please the whole team all the time, but as long as this is benefiting most of the team, this is what I'm doing. And that's what Greg also always says, as long as it's pulling the boat forward, that's what you're supposed to do.
You said that when you were a freshman, the senior girls had mentored you, and now you kind of are in that spot of being a mentor to them.
Yeah, I also worked as orientation leader on campus, so that was really rewarding, just welcoming first years on campus, leading them and being a resource to them throughout the semester, getting coffee with them.
What were some of the things that you told the freshmen to get them feeling a little bit more comfortable about their transition?
Yeah, I was always telling them to embrace being on campus and get out of their room, whether it's arts, sports, leadership, campus orgs. So I was trying to just present to them, like, look how many amazing things Denison has for you. You just have to like go out and seek and do them. So that was my biggest advice, to just, even if you're an introvert, just kind of get out of your room or keep the door open in your dorm. Because me and my freshman roommate Savannah, who is also one of my co-captains, best friend, we always kept our room open in our dorm, and that's how we made a lot of friends on our floor. And just to like take deep breaths. I know it's super cliche, but freshman year, you're really just like a sponge. You're like learning so much and just intaking all this information, and that it's okay if you don't have perfect grades. The memories you're gonna make are so much more than like a test that you will have. A lot of my mentorship comes from seeking connections and encouraging other people to seek connections.
Right. That's definitely one of the things that I'm always working on with students is don't do homework in your bed.
Yeah.
You know, try and get out of your dorm room if you can go find somewhere to do homework, because then when you come back to your dorm room, you're going to feel a lot more relaxed.
That was me. I could never do homework in my room. I couldn't focus because I think it's another association thing and psychology thing where you associate a place with a feeling. So for me, my room was like strictly relaxing.
You know, in the moment, it sounds good, but it just turns the whole vibe of the room. And I do find that students have more anxiety.
Yeah.
And yeah, just being engaged on campus. Obviously, student athletes, they already have a way to stay engaged. But yeah, just being engaged on campus, it seems like Denison does a really, really good job at that. It is a big problem for people at bigger universities. The other thing that popped out to me was what you saying, like, it doesn't matter if you get bad grades the first semester. What matters is the process, that you're learning the process of how to take in this information to learn their learning style and learn how they learn, right?
That's so important.
What was most challenging in terms of balancing the athletics and academic stuff? Maybe you struggled, or maybe you just see a lot of students struggle with this. What are some of the issues that people have?
I think like burnout is a huge one. Student athletes are so used to saying yes to everything, and their whole day's programmed to every minute, like I'm napping this time, I'm going to practice, then I'm doing homework. And you are only human and you can only do that for so long. I think every student athlete eventually hits a burnout. In those moments, it's really important to have coaches who are really understanding of that. I could always go talk to Greg. Another thing is sacrifices. So obviously Friday night, you're not going to go to a party. You're going to go to bed because you have Saturday morning practice. And I think that sometimes student athletes struggle with. And a lot of them question it sometimes, like, is this really worth it? Like, I'm not really having an ordinary college experience. You have to go to bed early. So I think those are the two things where then sometimes some athletes question themselves like, oh, should I quit? Should I just be a normal student and go out and socialize and not really have a strict schedule? So I think those two. I never really struggled with the second one because my love for swimming was always greater than it. But the first one, it happened to me so many times.
Yeah, no
I
kidding.
got burned out so many times.
Like you said, it is inevitable at some point. And I think, you know, at Untapped, we just try to approach it from the angle of like, we're going to give you all the skills necessary to try and, you know, prolong that time till you're starting to feel that burnout, and you can keep everything organized or whatever it may be.
And preventive.
Yeah. And then when it does ultimately happen, having the communication skills to be able to reach out to your coach, reach out to your teacher, and be honest and tell them, hey, I need some extra support here.
Yes. I think support system all the way, and just not having it bottled up is so important.
What advice or words of wisdom do you have for students that are maybe starting their freshman year, maybe they're looking at colleges, or they're just having a hard time?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep coming back to the support system piece and finding your people. You just have to find your people no matter what organization you're in. I just think it's really, really important you have people around you that can listen to you when you're overwhelmed, and that can also push you to be better, because you're only in college once. So just get out there and do stuff. Like, don't just sit in your room. Find friends, find your people, and just get involved. Your grades will be fine, you'll be fine, but you just have to have something outside of your just day-to-day studying, and that's really important. It's a really, really important balance, I would say.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Yeah, and thank you, Tara, for coming in and doing this. We're really lucky to be able to talk to people like you that have accomplished so much and have so much to share.
People are lucky to have you guys as an organization to help them. I think the work you're doing is really needed nowadays. So thank you so much. I really enjoyed this.